8 cups of water all told. Put that on the stove to start to boil. And also heat up another pot. Mash and then chop up some garlic. I like probably for every 1 cup of beans, 1 clove of fresh garlic. But that'll vary on how good the garlic is. Just chop it up. You don't have to be chopped too fine. Try to avoid the end of your fingers. That goes into the pot with some hot oil. Use a fair amount of olive oil on this. I basically cover the bottom of this big pot and add a little bit more. That's about 4 ounces, I would guess. But it could be more. And I'll just, before that gets too hot, I'm going to put the garlic in. Keep an eye on that. Grab a good sized onion. And again, you can use more if you like. Doesn't have to be. In fact, I'm going to use a little bit more. I like onion. And sort of hurrying because you don't want that garlic to burn. And you have to start all over again. Add the onion to that. It'll cool down the oil some. Keep the garlic from burning, hopefully. Just to heat a little bit. Yeah, the garlic is nice and brown, but there's not even a hint of black anywhere, or dark brown even. So that's good. I'm going to add a couple of bay leaves. There's 4 small bay leaves. That ought to do it. Some celery, probably a couple of, some. The ends don't look too good. These are too tough down here. Just chop them up. Go to that. That's enough. Got the celery in there. Got a couple of bay leaves, onion, garlic. You can see the garlic is just about, that's exactly the way I like it. Any darker than that and wouldn't be very pleasant. Have to start all over again. You can't fix that. But if it's lighter than that, you don't get quite the same nutty flavor. So this will be good. So I'll just wilt that some more while I wash the beans. So there's just about 2 cups of beans in here. And just want to rinse them out a little bit. They come pretty well cleaned already from the store. And this was just a ordinary, no particular brand. What do they call this? Light red kidney beans. This is 1 pound bag. That's about 2 cups, a little bit more than 2 cups. Looking pretty good. I like to warm up the beans before I get the water in there. So just trying to wilt the celery and onion a little bit. Brown the garlic. The only thing that needs to be browned is the garlic. Get the oil flavored with the bay leaf and the onion and garlic and the celery. Now I'm just warming the beans a little bit. This is probably an unnecessary step, as would be soaking the beans overnight. You see that, it's my opinion that you don't really need to do that. That's just sort of a waste. It doesn't really speed up the cooking time, and it doesn't soften the beans. What is important about softening the beans, though, is to put the salt in only at the end. You put salt in while you're cooking the beans, it toughens the skin. So you want to make sure, and dries out the beans also. So you want to make sure that you wait to the end to season it. The only seasoning I'm putting in here at this point is the bay leaf. So now it's just a matter of waiting for the water to boil. I'll take this off heat, and we'll just wait for this water to boil, which of course we're not going to bother to watch the pot. Okay. It smells quite sweet with all that bay leaf in there. Now the water just starting to boil, so we'll just add, the rule is 4 cups of water per 1 cup of beans, so we have a little bit more than 2 cups of beans, maybe just slightly more. But 1 bag is 8 cups of water, that's enough. Now you could use stock, of course, if you didn't want a vegan meal. You wanted, some people saute bacon instead of olive oil, or use seasoning pork, or what they call salt pork. Some people put sausage in. I don't know that that's all that important. It does change the flavor. It adds a, that extra dimension of meat. But I don't do it. I'll saute some sausage at the end and offer that to go along with, but don't need it, I think. So this is, whatever fat comes from the olive oil, and that's it. And that's, of course, olive oil is pretty decent fat. If you're going to eat fat, that's a good one to eat. So the idea is to get this up to a gentle simmer, so you can actually see it bubbling, and sort of maintain it at that speed. I've got to turn the heat up to medium now. It had been on medium-high to saute, and I turned it all the way off while we waited for the water to boil. So you can start to see a few bubbles here and there, some right there. You can already see the beans are starting to wrinkle. They'll swell up, absorb a lot of moisture, and swell up, and then they'll just cook and get softer and softer and softer. As they do that, the broth will become like a gravy. You read sometimes people say mash some beans up against the side of the pot to thicken the gravy. I've never needed to do that. You'll see this gravy is going to get very thick without mashing at all. And all these pieces of onion and celery, they'll all just disappear, cook into the gravy. And I leave it uncovered because we want that to reduce. And it's going to cook for 3-4 hours, whatever it takes. So within about 2 to 3 minutes, it got to this kind of boil. You can see that's just about perfect. Can't really maintain it that way exactly. It sort of goes up and down. You have to keep stirring it every once in a while, especially in the first half hour or so. You have to stir it quite often because you don't want any of those beans to stick to the bottom of the pot or anywhere else. And they're quite starchy, of course, as they become less wrinkly, which already they're starting to do. They're releasing starch, which helps make that gravy. But it also means that they could stick if you're not careful. So for the first half hour, I'll stir it probably once every 3 or 4 minutes. Try to maintain that level of a boil right there. So I'm going to turn the heat down to medium-low now. And if need be, I'll turn it down further, and if necessary I can always move it off the burner a little bit like that, exposing some of the burner, but for now we're just going to leave it like this. Already it's boiling a little bit too fast. Not too bad. You don't want it any faster than that. Been 3 or 4 minutes. I just want to make sure nothing's sticking. Turns out nothing is sticking now, but I want to be sure of that. Also, by stirring it, release a little bit more steam and can adjust the temperature somewhat subtly. It's not boiling quite as much now. Well, after the first 45 minutes, you have the boil just at the right speed. You can see all of the wrinkles, not all the wrinkles, but a lot of the wrinkles on the beans gone, and don't need too many more updates now for a while. I'm just going to keep checking it every 15-20 minutes, make sure it boils at the right speed, and then after a few hours it should be finished. This is after about 2 hours. You can see the beans are really big. Some of them are splitting a little bit, but for the most part, things are starting to starch up here too. You can see the gravy is just beginning to form. And I expect it's a rainy day today, so it may take a little bit longer, but we'll cook most of the moisture down in the last hour. It may take 3 hours, maybe a little bit more today because it's rainy. But next time we'll see quite a lot of gravy there. Well, this is about 3.5 hours. You see it's starting to thicken up pretty well. I expect it'll take the full 4 hours to get it down to the consistency I want. It's okay if it's a little runny, because you're going to reheat it at some point, and it's always nice to have a little extra there, but I want it thicker than that, so we're going to wait. In the meantime, I'm going to put in the first bit of savory seasoning. This is rosemary. My opinion, any savory food is improved by adding rosemary. I'll also, if I can find some oregano, I'll put that in there too, but I don't know if I'll find any in my cabinet. No, I don't see any right now, so that's okay. Oregano is a more normal thing. You could add thyme. Thyme is also good, but this will be good. Enough savoriness comes out of the rosemary. I may add just a bit more. So that'll boil and steep in there. At this point I will start a base of pepper. I'll add more pepper later, but I want to get started with this. Add this in layers. And for the first time now, we'll add a pinch of salt. Not very much. We're going to add more salt later, but I just want to get started on that. Start building the layers of savoriness. Okay. So we'll let that cook another half hour, maybe 40, as much as 45 minutes. This is just about 4 hours. And yeah, you can feel the weight now. Some of the beans are sticking to the bottom, not sticking, but settling on the bottom of the pot. And that gravy is pretty thick. I am liking what I'm seeing. So, I'm going to try just a bit more seasoning here. I'll add some more salt, about the same amount which as last time, which was half a teaspoon or so. And definitely add a little bit more pepper. We've already added quite a bit of this, so it smells good. And naturally, oh look, I found some oregano. Cool. No, there's none in there. Alright, so if I had oregano I'd put it in, but I already put a lot of rosemary. So I'm going to put some Tabasco sauce in. And I'm not going to put a whole lot because I like to add it at the time of serving on my own plate. So I want to leave a little Tabasco headroom there. That's looking very good. And it smells good. Sweet and a lot of pepper. And now, of course, I can smell the vinegar from the Tabasco. So I'll give that a try. A bit more salt. Another half teaspoon. Excellent. Okay, so now it's thickened up, it's ready pretty much. For me, the best thing to do is to leave it alone. Just turn it off, cover it, and in a few hours I'll come back from work and
boil some rice, reheat it, check the seasoning again. I think it's okay, and then serve it with the rice. And I might chop up some cilantro or parsley and put that on the top. Saute some greens to go with it, some collard greens or turnip greens or kale or something, and that's it. Could also have some nice hot sausage like andouille sausage or chorizo or something like this, but I probably won't bother with that tonight. So anyway, that's it. Red beans and soon to be red beans and rice.